You are not separate from that which you seek. I tell you, the universe is not some distant entity. It is not a cold machinery waiting to be begged or bribed. The universe is within you, and it responds not to your words, not even to your desperate cries, but to the silent assumption that what you desire already is. Once you start asking the universe in the right way, which is not really asking at all, but assuming, then it is done. This secret is so simple that many will miss it. You see, most people go to the universe in the same way a beggar approaches a wealthy king, full of need, full of doubt, pleading for mercy. But the universe, being your very own consciousness pushed out, does not respond to begging. It responds to belief. It echoes your inner state. When you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, you are no longer asking with your words. You are declaring with your being. And in that moment, the thing you desire is already yours. Let us remove this idea of distance. The universe is not far from you. It is not out there. It is not above you or beneath you. The universe is within. You ask the universe by changing your concept of self. You do not ask it like a child pleading with a parent. You ask it like a creator placing an order into the divine imagination. When you ask with conviction, when you feel the truth of your desire as if it were already real, the universe has no choice. It rearranges itself to reflect that inner conviction. Many people will say, I have been asking the universe, but nothing is happening. To them I say this, what was your inner state when you asked? Did you ask from lack, or did you ask from fulfillment? Did you feel the joy of possession, or the frustration of delay? For the universe is a mirror. It does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. If you are in the state of not having, of hoping, of waiting, then you will continue to experience more of that waiting. But if you enter the state of already having, already being, already enjoying, then the universe rushes to confirm it. There is a great difference between asking and assuming. The one who assumes does not beg. They do not question. They do not waver. They know. This is the great key. Ask yes, but ask with the feeling that your prayer is already answered. Ask with the knowing that what you seek is already accomplished in the invisible. You must act and live and breathe from the end. When I say it is done, I do not mean you must now try to make it happen. I mean that once the assumption is alive in you, once the feeling has taken root, the work is finished on your part. The rest unfolds naturally. You have cast the seed into the soil of imagination, and the harvest must come. There is no effort in it. The seed does not struggle to grow. It simply becomes. And so do your desires when asked with the right attitude. To ask the universe correctly is to feel the reality of your wish fulfilled now. It is to feel it so naturally, so convincingly, that you lose all desire to even look for confirmation. You know it is done. You walk differently. You speak differently. You sleep peacefully, because the desire has been claimed in consciousness, and that is the only place creation begins. The moment you impress it upon your subconscious mind with feeling, with belief, with full acceptance, the universe goes to work behind the scenes to bring it into form. Your subconscious does not argue. It does not question. It accepts what is felt as true, and the universe, being the reflection of your subconscious mind, simply echoes back that truth. So if you want love, you must feel loved. If you want wealth, you must feel wealthy. If you want healing, you must feel whole. Not someday, but now. Not when the condition changes, but before. This is the great paradox and the great secret. You must feel the change before the change appears. And once you feel it truly, it is done. You may wonder, but how do I sustain this feeling? How do I not fall back into doubt? And I say to you, return to the end again and again. Make it your dwelling place. Every time doubt arises, do not fight it. Simply close your eyes and imagine again. Return to the scene of the wish fulfilled. See it, hear it, touch it in your mind. Lose yourself in the joy of already having it. The imagination is the only door to reality. There is no other way to reach the universe except through your imagination. That is the language it understands. Once you ask the universe like this, with full faith, with unwavering feeling, with joyful expectancy, then it is done. You do not need to repeat your desire with anxiety. You do not need to check the clock or look for signs. The sign is your own conviction. The sign is your own peace. The sign is the shift within you. When your state of being matches the state of your desire, manifestation is inevitable. You must remember this. There is no outer power greater than your own inner belief. There is no force in the world that can override a persistent assumption. If you will remain loyal to the end you have imagined, the world must bow to it. It must conform, because the universe is not deciding your fate. It is reflecting your faith. And so if you change your inner conversation, if you change the way you speak to yourself, the way you see yourself, the way you feel in relation to your desire, then everything outside will change. This is not philosophy. This is law. It is immutable, like gravity. The law of assumption governs all manifestation. When you ask the universe like this with total inner alignment, then it is not even asking anymore. It is declaring. It is accepting. It is claiming. Think of the words "it is done." They are not future tense. They are not hopeful. They are final, complete. When you say "it is done," you close the door on all doubt. You refuse to entertain the opposite. You marry yourself to the reality you have created in consciousness. And that marriage, that union of imagination and belief, births the visible world. You do not have to make it happen. You only have to be it. Be in the state. Live from the end. Speak from the end. Feel from the end. When you feel it real, you do not look for proof. You become the proof. You walk with an inner certainty that no outer condition can shake. You are not influenced by appearances, because you know that appearances are only echoes of past assumptions. The new assumption you carry now will form the new world around you. So I tell you, stop waiting for the universe to do something for you. It is already done when you believe. It is done the moment you declare, in imagination and in feeling, that your wish is fulfilled. From that moment on you no longer wait. You prepare. You no longer hope. You expect. You no longer question. You receive. This is not a technique to manipulate life. This is how life works. You are always asking the universe, whether you know it or not. Every thought, every feeling, every self-concept is a request. But the universe does not judge your requests. It fulfills whatever you are most loyal to in consciousness. So if you persist in fear, it gives you more to fear. If you persist in joy, it gives you more to celebrate. If you persist in the feeling that your desire is already real, it cannot help but show you the fruits of that belief. When Jesus said, "What things soever you desire, when you pray, believe that you have received them, and you shall have them," he was speaking the law. Believe that you have received them, not will receive but have. This is the key. The believing is the receiving. The moment you believe it is yours, it is. You may be tempted to ask again and again, out of fear that the universe did not hear you the first time. But hear me now. Repetition without faith is noise. Repetition with faith is power. You do not need to ask many times when the first asking was filled with feeling. What you do need is to persist in the assumption, to live from it, to rest in it. That is the true prayer. Sustained belief in the invisible reality. Everything begins in the unseen. Everything begins in the unseen. Everything begins in imagination. And the unseen is not less real. It is more real. The visible world is but a shadow of the inner world. You must go within to change the without. You must feel it first to see it later. The world will tell you to wait until you see it to believe. But the truth is, you will never see it until you believe. Once you start asking the universe like this, as a master, not a beggar, as a creator, not a victim, as one who knows, not one who doubts, then you will discover that you are the universe, that the voice you thought was asking is the voice that answers, that the power you thought was outside of you was always within, and in that realization you are free. So I leave you with this truth. All things are possible to the one who assumes. All things are yours when you accept them in consciousness. Do not wait for the world to confirm your desire. Confirm it within yourself. Live as if it were so. Speak as if it were so. Feel as if it were so. And it will be so. Because once you start asking the universe like this, it is done. This is why you must be vigilant with your thoughts. Not through force or control, but through awareness. Notice what you are assuming throughout the day. Are you assuming that you are still waiting? Are you assuming that your manifestation is difficult, far away, or uncertain? Then that is exactly what the universe reflects. But if you rise into the higher assumption, the bold assumption that what you want is already yours, then reality bends to that state. You are always being answered, but the answer matches your dominant state of being. The language of the universe is not English or any spoken word. It is feeling. If you ask with your words but contradict yourself with your feelings, it is your feelings that win. The universe listens to what you are, not what you say. That is why so many prayers go unanswered. Not because they were not heard, but because they were not felt as true. You must ask with the feeling of fulfillment. You must feel the joy, the gratitude, the ease that comes with knowing that your desire is already manifest in the unseen. This is the asking that changes everything. This is the asking that opens the floodgates. And once you taste that feeling of alignment, once you ask from the mountaintop rather than the valley, something within you shifts permanently. You no longer seek confirmation from the outer world. You no longer chase the thing. You become the thing. This is not imagination as fantasy. This is imagination as creation. The world you see is nothing but crystallized imagination, hardened over time by persistent belief. You may not remember what you assumed yesterday or last week, but your present reality is revealing it to you. So if you want to change your reality, you must begin by changing what you are assuming now, not tomorrow, not when it feels convenient. Now, when you close your eyes and dwell in the scene that implies your wish is fulfilled, you are not escaping reality. You are entering the only reality that matters. The inner state precedes the outer form. Everything begins as a seed of thought, watered by feeling, grown through repetition and belief. And the universe simply does what it always does. It responds, unfailingly, lovingly, without hesitation. And so I tell you, do not measure your progress by appearances. Appearances are shadows. They are echoes. They are the slow unfolding of what was once invisible. You must trust the unseen more than the seen. You must believe in the world of imagination more than the world of facts. For facts change, but truth remains. And the truth is you are already one with your desire. The moment you feel it to be so, ask like the creator you are. Ask like one who commands, not arrogantly, but with the humility of knowing that you and the universe are not separate. There is no need to scream or strive. The whisper of conviction is louder than the shout of desperation. Feel it in silence. Assume it in stillness. Let the feeling soak into every corner of your being, until there is no room for doubt, only knowing. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. The inner world becomes more vivid, more alive, more powerful. And then the outer world, without effort or strain, follows suit. You begin to notice synchronicities, subtle shifts, unexpected openings. People, circumstances, and opportunities appear as if out of thin air. But they are not coincidences. They are echoes of your new state. You must persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not as a chore, but as a joy. It is not meant to be work. It is meant to be your natural state. What feels more natural? Worrying about how it will come, or delighting in the feeling that it is already here? The latter is the only path that works, not because it's easy, but because it's law. If you fall into doubt, do not condemn yourself. Simply return. Return to the state. Return to the end. Return to the scene that implies fulfillment. You are never far from it. Imagination is always one thought away, and that thought, when believed, becomes your world. What you are now conscious of being is what you are becoming. And you can become anything, anything at all, by becoming conscious of being. You do not have to ask permission. You do not have to wait for conditions. You do not need a reason. The universe does not ask why. It only says yes. Whatever you believe, it says yes. Whatever you assume, it says yes. Whatever you accept as true, it says yes. It cannot say no, because it is you. So ask differently. Ask not with fear, but with love. Ask not with doubt, but with certainty. Ask not with hope, but with knowing. Ask not as one who lacks, but as one who already is. This is how you move mountains. This is how you call forth miracles. This is how you awaken to the truth that all things are possible. Not later, not someday, but now. You are not waiting for the universe to act. The universe is waiting for you to assume. Waiting for you to feel it real. Waiting for you to drop the illusion of time and step into the eternal now, where all things are already yours. It is not difficult. It is not complex, but it does require courage. The courage to believe without evidence. The courage to assume what the senses deny. The courage to walk by faith, not by sight. This courage is the gateway to power. The moment you choose to assume the best, Regardless of appearances, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your place as the creator of your experience. You stop reacting and start directing. You stop asking why and start asking as if you no longer ask, can it happen? You ask from the position that it already has. And so the inner shift becomes the outer shift. The outer world bends, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, to accommodate your new assumption. And in those moments you realize that the change was not in the world, it was in you. The world simply followed. So when you ask the universe like this, not with effort but with embodiment, not with pleading but with peace, then creation is complete. You no longer need to make anything happen. You rest. You know. You trust. You prepare. You live from the reality that is already done in the unseen, knowing that time is only the bridge between the inner and the outer. This is the true art of asking, not from the state of being separate from your desire, but from the unity of already having it. Not from a place of hoping, but from a place of being. That is what asking really means. To ask the universe is to align with the frequency of your desire, to tune yourself like an instrument to the melody of fulfillment. And when you are in tune, the song plays, the manifestation appears, the reality reflects, and still there is no magic trick. There is no spell, only law, divine law, immutable, unchanging, ever responsive. It waits for your instruction, not in the form of commands, but in the form of identity. What are you now identifying as? What are you now conscious of being? For that is your true prayer. That is your asking. That is your order to the universe. You can be, do, and have anything, if you will only dare to assume it first. That is the power you were born with. That is the truth the world does not teach. But it is the truth that will set you free. So you persist, not through force or repetition of empty words, but through the gentle, quiet insistence of your own inner vision. You return to the feeling of already having it, again and again, until it becomes natural. You do not wait for signs. You become the sign. You become the signal to which the universe must respond. This is why your inner conversations matter. The things you say to yourself, in silence and in solitude, are the blueprint of your future. If your inner dialogue is saturated with fear, lack, and complaint, then those states must echo into form. But if you begin to talk to yourself as the person who already has it, as the one who already is successful, loved, abundant, healthy, then reality must conform to that new pattern. It has no choice. This is the sacred law of assumption. That which you assume to be true, consistently and with feeling, becomes your lived experience. The law is not swayed by how long you have wanted it, how hard you have worked, or how much you think you deserve it. The law only responds to your state. Your state is the magnet. Your state is the cause. Everything else is effect. So shift the cause. Do not tinker with the mirror. Do not chase shadows. Go to the root. Ask not from the posture of the beggar, but from the throne of the Creator. Sit there, mentally. Dwell there. Feast in imagination on the fulfillment of your dream, and let the joy of that feast carry into every moment. You will not need to shout, plead, or manipulate. The assumption does the work. The feeling does the work. You'll begin to notice things you used to strive for begin to come easily. People treat you differently. Money appears in places you didn't expect. Your body feels stronger, lighter. You smile more without reason. And none of it is a mystery, because you know it began when you changed how you asked. It began when you stopped reaching out and started reaching within. It began when you claimed the end as now. The world is not outside you. It is within you, pushed out. And every day the universe asks you a question, though you do not hear it in words. Who do you assume yourself to be today? And your answer, not through speech, but through feeling, becomes your command. If you assume yourself to be lacking, then you shall be. If you assume yourself to be full, complete, blessed, abundant, then you shall be. It is not a matter of effort. It is a matter of identity. So you must no longer ask if it is coming. That is not the right question. The right question is, am I being the one who already has it? For that question contains the secret of all creation. The one who has already received does not ask in fear. The one who has already received gives thanks. The one who has already received walks as if it is done, because it is. Imagination is the workshop of the divine. It is where all things begin. If you can imagine it clearly and feel it deeply, then it exists. And what exists in imagination, when persisted in, must appear in your world. This is not poetry, it is law. And the only reason most do not see it work is because they ask as those who do not believe. They ask with contradiction in their heart. They ask from the state of not having, and then wonder why that same state continues. But when you ask in the right way, when you ask like it's already done, then the universe bows to your conviction. It reorganizes, it reshapes, it clears the path, brings the people, unlocks the doors. And often it does so quietly, without fanfare. It feels natural, because it is. You are not forcing miracles, you are allowing them. You are stepping into alignment with what has always been yours. There is a great stillness in this kind of asking, a peace, a confidence that does not need to be loud. And in that stillness you begin to see clearly. You see that reality is malleable, fluid, ready to take the shape of your inner world. You begin to live as the one who is always provided for. You begin to trust, not because you have proof, but because you know the truth, that what you assume becomes. This is not about control, it is about surrender. Not surrender to circumstances, but surrender to the truth that you are the operant power, that nothing can happen without your assumption giving it life. And so you relax. You no longer need to force the outcome. You rest in the end. You relax into the fulfillment. And this very relaxation is power. There is great strength in letting go of the need to make it happen, in trusting the seed you planted in consciousness, in watching the invisible forces of life rearrange themselves to reflect your new inner identity. And you become a witness, a joyful, calm witness to the miracle of your own assumption becoming flesh. When you ask like this, when you feel the wish fulfilled and walk in the assumption of already being, it is done. Not it will be done, not it might be done. It is done. The moment you claim it inwardly, it begins to materialize outwardly, and time becomes irrelevant. Whether it appears in a day or a month does not matter. What matters is that you no longer wait in doubt. You wait in knowing, and knowing is the greatest power of all. Every desire you hold is already complete in imagination. It is not something you have to build from scratch. It already exists in the unseen. You simply tune to it, embody it, align with it, and then watch it unfold. You do not need to chase it. You do not need to grasp. You need only to become the version of you who already has it. That version already exists. That version is calling you. And when you answer, not with striving but with being, then the universe responds instantly. You become the magnet. You become the point of attraction. You become the center of your own creation, no longer at the mercy of circumstances. And it all begins with a new kind of asking. Not the old way, not the pleading or wishing, but the divine way. The way of feeling it real, the way of assuming it done, the way of walking as if the promise is already fulfilled. In that way of asking, there is no delay. There is no denial. There is only alignment. There is only alignment. There is only reflection. There is only the great truth revealed, that the world is your mirror, and your imagination is the sculptor. So now you live in the end, not as a tactic, not as a temporary experiment, but as your new truth. You greet each day from the state of the wish fulfilled. You put on that feeling like a garment, and you wear it in all that you do. You speak from it. You act from it. You love from it. And as you persist, what was once invisible begins to take form in the visible. What was once an inner knowing begins to show itself in the facts of your life. People around you may call it luck, or coincidence, or divine timing, but you know the cause. You know that the outer is only the shadow of the inner, and you do not need to explain or justify. You simply continue in your knowing,
unshaken by appearances, unmoved by delay, untouched by doubt, because your assumption is alive. It is real, and it is working. Even when nothing seems to be changing, you understand that everything is changing. You trust the unseen, you trust the law, you trust the process, and you keep your attention not on what is lacking, but on what is already true in imagination. For that is the secret most do not grasp. It is not about reacting to what is, but creating from what you have accepted as real. That inner acceptance is the key. That silent yes is your command. You no longer ask out of desperation, you ask with joy. You no longer seek signs, you become the sign. You no longer count the days, you dwell in timeless fulfillment. This is the way of the mystic. This is the path of the awakened creator. This is what it means to ask the universe in the way that guarantees manifestation. You are not waiting for life to approve of you. You are not waiting for some external permission. You have already said yes to yourself, and now the universe echoes that yes in everything it brings. Each day becomes a reaffirmation. Each moment a quiet declaration. It is done. Even as your senses deny it, even as the world tempts you to doubt, you remain faithful. You remain inwardly anchored. You keep walking in the assumption, and that assumption carries you through all appearances of lack, all moments of delay, all shadows of fear. Because the assumption, when truly felt, is stronger than the world. It's not a question of if it will happen. It is a matter of alignment. And alignment is not about effort. It is about feeling. Feel it real, not once, not occasionally, but consistently. Whenever you remember, return to the end. Return to the version of you who already has what you desire. Let your mind dwell there. Let your heart feast there. Let your spirit rest there. This is the practice. This is the secret. Not to force reality to obey you, but to become the version of you that reality must reflect. It is not about fixing the world. It is about transforming your state. For your state is your world. And when the state changes, everything else must follow. You may find yourself surprised how easily things begin to unfold, how people begin to respond differently, how opportunities seem to find you. But it is not luck, it is law, and you realize that your entire life is the product of what you have assumed to be true about yourself and your world. Nothing was ever denied you, only delayed by disbelief. So you ask, not because you lack, but because you know. You know the moment you feel it, it is already yours. You walk into the room as the person who already has what they once sought. You live from the end, and life must conform. This is the power of conscious creation. This is the sacred art of feeling it real. Now you no longer feel the need to convince anyone. You no longer argue, prove, or explain. You simply live in your inner world and let the outer catch up. You know that consciousness is the only reality, and so you guard your inner state with reverence. You watch your thoughts. You tend to your emotions. You curate your inner conversations. Because these are the tools, these are the instruments of creation. You see the world as malleable, as plastic, as something waiting for your instruction, and your instruction is silent. It is felt. It is embodied. You no longer rely on others to give you what you already have in imagination. You no longer look outside for validation. You give it to yourself. This confidence is not arrogance. It is the natural result of knowing who you truly are. You are the operant power. You are the one with the authority to claim and assume and receive. The universe is not outside you, granting favors to the worthy. It is within you, echoing back your deepest assumptions. When you assume, you create. When you feel it real, you give it life. When you persist in the state of the wish fulfilled, you command reality with quiet authority. This is how it works. This is how it has always worked. You begin to understand that every moment is an opportunity to shift into a new reality. Every thought is a doorway, every feeling a seed, and your job is not to control the world, but to select the state. Once the state is selected and fully embodied, the world must reflect it. What is the right state? It is the one where your desire is already fulfilled. It is the state of gratitude, of peace, of quiet knowing. It is not a performance. It is not pretending. It is becoming. Becoming the version of yourself that already knows the answer, already lives the dream, already holds the miracle. And so day by day, moment by moment, you ask like this, not with begging, not with hoping, but with faith, with feeling, with certainty. You ask, and you receive, not because you are lucky, but because you are aligned. You are the cause. You are the seed. You are the beginning of every manifestation. This is what it means to live from imagination. This is what it means to be a conscious creator. This is the path Neville Goddard walked, and taught, and demonstrated through every word. And this path is yours now, if you choose it, not someday, but now, not later, but here. And so, beloved, understand this with unwavering clarity. The moment you ask the universe from the state of the wish fulfilled, not as someone hoping, but as someone knowing, it is done. This is not theory. This is law. The world bends not to your words, but to your assumption. Creation is finished. Your desire already exists. The only task that remains is for you to become the one who has already received it. Walk from this moment forward, as if your wish were already a living, breathing fact. Speak, move, and feel from the end. Make no room for doubt, for hesitation, for delay. They have no power unless you give it to them. You are the operant power, and when you ask the universe like this, as the one who already is, already has, already knows, then truly, the universe has no choice but to comply. You do not chase. You do not strive. You assume, and in that assumption worlds are made, doors open, mountains move, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. So ask, and know, assume, and rest. Feel it real, and let the world reflect your inner certainty. For the moment you align with the state of the fulfilled desire, it is done.